This just in. It's really hard to read the fine print when no one tells you there is any. Welcome to the special Reboot edition of Charmed Chats with Kendra
and Kat.
Today we're covering episode 112, You're Dead to Me.
They get very literal with these.
Yeah, this one, it's both literal and a pun, which is an interesting balance to strike.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into that summary.
Yeah, let's summarize this bitch.
We open on a stormy night in the attic 28 years ago with Marisol and Dexter petitioning a gaunt-looking blonde woman to bring baby Macy back from the dead. She has apparently just died. At any cost. Turns out the cost is Marisol never looking at Macy from the age of 2 onward. At breakfast, Mel and Maggie are reading the letters between Marisol and Dexter when Harry walks in. They tell him the sitch, and there is a tense moment when Macy returns from a walk. Harry tries to reassure her. It does not quite have the effect he intended.
Yeah.
Maggie admonishes Mel for checking Nico's socials, but Mel promises not to get involved again. Lucy invites Maggie to a frat party. Macy uses a summoning spell to call the necromancer who resurrected her. There is a strangely large amount of blood, and then a blood curtain, out of which steps Nancy, clad in scrubs, who is angrily demanding Macy's help to resurrect a concealment spell that the summoning broke in exchange for answers. Nico invites Mel over to a coffee place that stirs up some old memories. Nico has deja vu when she spots Mel's scar. Macy and Nancy chat while potioning, and Macy is told that resurrections can sometimes have very dark consequences. Maggie meets Nancy, and all three are attacked by an energy ball through the kitchen window. In attempting to go to their aid, Harry accidentally orbs himself and Mel to Manchester, where his son lives. Back at the house, the witch Sid is being very liberal with some energy balls, wreaking havoc around the house. Macy finally tosses her through a window when Maggie is threatened. Mel and Harry have a pint while he tells her about his son and his divided mind. She agrees to help him. Macy and Nancy leave Sid tied up in the shed on a rock while they look for a containment spell. Maggie, despite all efforts, is not having fun at the party with Lucy. Parker plays bartender and attempts to explain his previous actions, but she's not having it. Nancy and Macy return to the shed to find that Sid has broken her chains. In Manchester, Mel gets Harry to use the power of deja vu to track down his son. They find a church and rifle through its christening records. They find what they're looking for. In searching the house for Sid, Macy gets a call from Maggie, who Sid is holding captive in the frat bathroom. Macy, Nancy, and Parker all run to rescue Maggie, who Sid has now trapped in a rapidly filling shower stall. Macy uses her telekinesis to hurt Sid at Nancy's taunting. Parker and Maggie talk her down, and Sid spills the beans about Nancy's deal with the demon. When she tries to flee, Parker tackles Nancy, and she attacks him, which apparently voids her deal and she crumbles into dust. Mel and Harry finally find Carter, his son, and Harry has to content himself with knowing that his little boy is happy and healthy and has descendants of his own. They return home. The girls bring Macy coffee in bed and talk about her darkness. Macy goes to Dr. Wagner and makes a deal to get the demon blood in her removed in exchange for helping Parker. Mel cancels her meeting with Nico, who is busy researching magic and Lichtenberg figures. Parker checks in on Maggie, who tells him she doesn't hate him. Lucy Skypes with Alistair, who is orchestrating his son's love life from a tropical island. She has been mesmerized. End.
Yeah.
That was real fun to just, see him on the screen. Just, gently wafting curtains behind him.
Yes, and a fruity drink in his hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which apparently is, burned from whatever Maggie and
whatever
the
they
girls
did to him.
I find it interesting that he can apparently mesmerize through screens.
Yeah, through the internet, and it doesn't show up on whatever program she was using.
Yeah.
Because it did not show up. Her last call was from Mom.
I love a techno-demon thingy.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Or, maybe he mesmerized her previously and, ordered her to call him, but I don't know that would actually happen.
I don't know. I have many a thought, but can we just, for a moment, step back and just... Nancy, spelled
K-N-A-N-S-I-E. It gave me Neil Gaiman flashbacks.
I looked at that and I went, really? Really? They're going to make a Nancy with a K joke? Really? All right. But my first thought, and this made me laugh so hard. She comes out from this, carton of whatever.
Of blood.
Curtain of blood. In like a Hawaiian shirt. And I was like, she works at Trader Joe's?
They look like scrubs to me.
Apparently
so this was the episode that I was on set for.
Right.
I was only on set for the bit they filmed in the bathroom with everyone there. And not even all of that. Like, I left before they did all of the stuff where they, like, wet down Maggie's outfit and had, like, the conclusion and shit. But now a whole bunch of shit makes sense for me now, because I'm like, oh, well, that explains the green dress that I saw that was a really, really bright green, and Parker's red jacket, and also why outside of this bathroom set there was a stoplight that was shifting between the three colors. I'm like, what is the purpose of that?
Well, there
what
you
is
go.
going on?
Yeah.
Also, it's very interesting because the filter they put on that footage made it very different, because when they were filming it, it looked more like kind of an early morning situation, and the filter made it seem a little more like night. It's kind of a Zorro filter.
Yeah, they do a lot of day to night type stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was very funny. She came out in this Hawaiian looking shirt and I was like, she works at Trader Joe's. Apparently it's Handy Dandy Snacks in Ferndale.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started laughing.
I love that Maggie immediately recognized, and she's like, hey, I know you.
Yeah, you're Nancy with a K from Handy Dandy Snacks in Ferndale. And
Maggie,
I was just like,
Maggie is such a social butterfly.
But I love the fact, because Nancy is a slightly pudgy woman. And I love the fact that Maggie called her the gorge cashier.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, it is so sweet. Too bad she turns out to be fucking evil.
Yeah. But no, Mackenzie, that's the actor's name. She was like super nice. And it was really funny because when they were doing like the bit in the bathroom where Sid is explaining exactly what Nancy does to resurrect people, the entire time, the woman playing Sid kept accidentally saying Kenzie instead of Nancy. And she wouldn't catch it at first.
Yeah.
And then they'd have to go through and be like, you used the wrong name. You used the wrong name, sweetie.
You did it wrong. There's a lot of little things that happened in this episode that made me like this episode a lot. Like, again, like the kind of message with an M that was more conversational than stuffed down your throat was when Nancy says, when those in power repeat lies long enough, people start to believe them.
I mean, she was lying, but she's not wrong.
She was lying, but she's not wrong. Exactly. And it's little things like that where it's like, this is the message, but it's not being shoved down your throat. It's a conversational thing. And so it just kind of works organically.
Yeah.
I also think it was very interesting that see, and I almost called her Kenzie, that Nancy can conjure the chains of Antioch, and then they just leave her alone to go find a thing. And I'm like,
yeah, they never really explain how she broke out of the chains, which were apparently supposed to hold her.
Well, my logic in this, and this is complete headcanon because it was never explained. My logic is that Nancy didn't really want to hold her. She wanted her to get out because she wanted Macy to go demon.
Yeah, that tracks.
I mean, that's the only thing that really makes sense there. Is Nancy was the one who was like, kill her. We have to kill her. We totally have to kill her. You just have to kill her.
Bad news, Mace. We gotta kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's very interesting that the only thing that stopped Macy from killing Sid was Maggie and Parker.
Yeah.
Being like, no, please don't.
Yeah.
Like that little, like, just touch her on the shoulder and be like, okay, calm the fuck down. She's a witch, you're a witch. Let's not kill the witch. Okay. Maybe the necromancer's lying. Did you ever really think about that?
Yeah. Also, I got to hold that hammer. It's rubber.
Yeah.
And it's surprisingly heavy.
Well, yeah.
Also, apparently cost a lot of money to make because they couldn't just they didn't just have one, in reserve over in props.
Yeah.
And the props dude was super nice. He's like, here you go, hold this thing. We're just like, oh, okay.
I do think it very interesting though that she throws the hammer down through Parker's head, and because he's a demon, it does nothing.
Well, no, because he used his power, it does nothing.
Right, but I'm saying it didn't do anything to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the visual effect of having her go completely gaunt and
gray and
gray
blue
and then disappearing into ash, and it went from the tip of her head and the tip of her toes in toward her stomach, and her stomach was
cool.
the last thing to leave. I thought that was a really cool effect.
Yeah.
But the hammer got left behind, and I wonder if that will ever come up again.
Doubt it.
I doubt it as well.
They probably grabbed it from the shed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it was very, very interesting.
Oh, so the one commercial.
Oh, yes.
There was one commercial that I saw, and I was like, hang on a sec. This is interesting. Because when I hit the fast forward through the commercial on the DVR, I saw Alice Wetterland's face at one point for a brief second before I clicked forward. And I'm like, whoa, hang on a sec. Alice Wetterland. Go back.
Who was that?
In the commercial with Steve Carell, she was the woman asking for the Coke. And then Cardi B pops out.
Oh, yeah, that was a Super Bowl commercial.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was just really funny because the one face that clued me in was probably, well, not the least, but it was one of the least well-known faces in that commercial.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah, that was the Super Bowl Pepsi commercial.
It was just really funny to me. And I had to go back and I had to watch it. I'm like, wow, I don't remember her mentioning this on Instagram.
Yeah. I skipped through the commercials, so I didn't see any of them, but I've seen that one because
it was fun watching Steve Carell try to pronounce ochre.
Yeah. Okra.
Ochre. Did not work.
No, not so much. I do like the fact that we see at the party Lucy is all like, wear green, don't give a shit about Parker, whatever. Oh, check out the bartender. And I looked at that and I was like, what is Lucy's endgame? Right in that moment, I was like, what is Lucy's endgame? Because you know that Maggie is trying not to run into Parker.
Well, we find out what her endgame is.
We do.
She's being subconsciously controlled to get them back together. And I love how she tries to school Alistair and she's like, you want to play the slow burn with this bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I love how they did that too, because then he picks up the drink with the hand and is like, I can't do the slow burn, as we see the burn on his hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's one of those where it's what is his endgame in this? Why does he want them back together?
Presumably so he can have an in or something. I don't know.
I don't understand exactly what's up there.
Mm-hmm. Although, so tangentially related, I like that I was right about Macy having the completely wrong assumption, seeing Dr. Wagner's research.
Yes.
Where, on the left is the half demon blood, on the right is the human, and they're like, they're turning humans into demons. I'm like, no, you're completely wrong. This has got to be, it's the opposite, right? Yeah. And I'm totally right.
Yeah.
Because that's what Dr. Wagner's trying to do.
Absolutely. I really like the fact that she just walks in to Dr. Wagner's office and is like,
you know
right,
I'm a witch.
You know I'm a witch.
I know your son's a demon. And half demon.
Yeah. I was like, all right, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I will help you get the demon out of him if you help me get the demon out of me.
And honestly, from a scientific standpoint, that makes a lot more sense because Dr. Wagner has been doing a lot of research about demon-human hybrids, and doing a small removal is going to be a good test run for a larger
removal.
Yeah.
But I also love the fact that at the end of that scene, she was like, have a seat, Dr. Vaughn. And I was like, okay, we're going to be professionals about this.
Colleagues. I love it when Macy gets called Dr. Vaughn.
Yeah, it made me very happy. The other thing that I truly, really, truly enjoyed about this insane, that last insane moment of Lucy in the room. She's on the computer. The call gets disconnected. We see that it's not on the call. Like,
bitches, who took my zit cream?
Yeah, because she happens to notice in her reflection that she has a zit on her cheek. And the funniest part ever for me is when she turns around, I could not see the zit anymore.
It was pretty far. It was a pretty long shot. Yeah,
I was just like, really? Okay, Lucy's back. All right. You know, but it was total. I think that's my funniest thing with Lucy, and that's the other thing is she said to Maggie about getting her pledged to rush Kappa in the spring.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, so she's trying to get her back into Kappa.
She's trying to get her to be closer so she can control more.
Exactly. So it's like, I'm waiting for this relationship to break down.
See, the thing is, Lucy clearly doesn't know she's doing this. Like, she again had like the fun zombie sort of like affect.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Maggie had when she had the emotional ice pack.
Yeah.
And then she like comes out as though she's just like
out of
just
the haze.
been completely out of it because she's being mesmerized.
Right.
Which means she doesn't know what she's doing. It's just like in there.
Right. Which makes me wonder how long she's been at this.
This is true. Like, was her entire relationship with Parker about this?
Because Lucy has been all about getting Maggie into Kappa since the beginning.
Unless. You're supposed to say unless.
Unless.
Thank you. This all started when Parker broke up with Lucy originally. Because think about it. She was super broken up. She was super upset. Had to talk with Maggie. Maggie revealed the thing. Now, I previously hypothesized that Alistair didn't really give a shit about Parker until he found out that he was in love with Maggie.
Right.
So what if he then went, like, he knew who Parker was dating, he just didn't care. So he probably goes to Lucy, mesmerizes her, brings her into the plan, which is why she so quickly recovered and was like, you two should date.
Yeah,
in the
I
beginning.
Could see that.
And like she says she found a guy, so she's got like whatever. We've not seen hide nor hair of said dude.
Right.
At all.
Right.
So who knows what the fuck is going on.
Well, and she wore green to the party, so
she wore green to the party. Yes.
Yeah. Can I just say, is stoplight parties, is that a real thing that happens? Because, like...
I've seen a similar concept wherein, like, there'll be the table where you get your cups for your drinks.
Yeah, I've seen it in the cups. I've never seen it in the clothes.
I mean, it's probably something people have tried. I don't know that it's something that's caught on.
Okay.
But yeah, it was very fun how they would play Maggie's thoughts about the answer she was going to give, and then she would say something that was consistent with the thoughts but not exactly what she was thinking.
Yeah, I did like the way that they did that, because it really did show that once you've been with a supernatural being who knows your secret, it's hard to go back to mortals.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to go back to the mundane who know nothing.
Yes.
So, yeah, I like the way they did that. They did that really, really well.
Mm-hmm. Also, what are these dudes asking her about? Like, oh, so you and Parker used to go out. Why are you bringing up another dude?
I know, right? Yeah.
I get it from a writing perspective, but like...
But seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of on that is that if they're like, you know... frat brothers with Parker, and so they live in the same place, and so it's did that relationship break up for a good reason or a bad reason? Because we kind of live with him, and you know, like that. I could see that.
Yeah. Well, also again with the whole alcohol culture at colleges, like Parker knows Maggie's 18.
Yeah,
and is serving her skinny margs. Like,
yeah, I.
It just makes me really uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what they're supposed to be in Michigan. I know they film in Vancouver, but like they're supposed to be in Michigan. So like,
yeah,
nah.
Yeah, I always have an issue with drinking on TV shows when it's, you know, when it's underage people and you know they're underage but they're in college.
Never gets brought up.
Never gets brought up, never gets them in trouble, whatever. Yep. Speaking of cops.
Yep.
Well, that little segue. Nico.
Yep.
Okay, so I like that they wound up back at the same coffee shop where Nico and Mel first were when Mel got her powers and was freaking out about the whole powers thing. I was only slightly annoyed that they did a flashback. Like, we couldn't remember that far back, you know?
Yeah.
I get why they did it, because it has been a while, but, like,
and,
seriously,
like,
we're still in the
exact same side of the table.
We're-
You have to have the visual of the deja vu for Mel.
Right. But it was one of those where, like, legit, I was like, dude, we're still in the same fucking season. I think we all remember this goddamn coffee shop.
But it was literally
But, you know.
12 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And they have had some significant hiatuses.
Yes, they have.
Yes. So it's useful.
Yeah, it was. I like I said, I understand why they did it. I just thought it was very funny. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. But I like the fact that I was right about the fact of Nico was looking into Jada because of whatever reason, and so she doesn't really know about Mel.
Yeah.
But that whole, like, deja vu of seeing the scar on her shoulder, and can I say the continuity error with that fucking sweater, because we saw that, like, the shoulder on that sweater went down at least 3 times during that scene before it went the full down.
Yeah.
And Nico noticed it. But I like the fact that that's what brought up her deja vu, was seeing the scar on her shoulder.
It definitely was a big thing to bring up. Because, like, previously she'd mentioned, like, oh, well, the coffee shop just kind of called out to me, like, it's a coffee shop. They have a billion of them, so,
right.
You know, that's
Right.
not necessarily going to actually jog anything, but it is going to be like, oh, I like this place. I don't know why. But yeah, it makes more sense that a very, very specific thing would jog more memories.
Exactly. I also thought it was very interesting at the end, after Harry has his revelation of, I know that they're fine, you know, I know my kid is fine, and I have great, you know, I apparently have great grandkids. All right, cool. Lovely.
Yeah.
I popping on that for a second, I love the fact that they had him just kind of staring at his son, who gets called into the house, and he notices him, and the way that they did that cut, where it was that quick little wave, and the son waves back, and then he turns to check something, and when he looks again, they're gone.
Yeah.
I liked that moment, because it was that little bit of, like, did I really see what I thought I saw? Did I not see what I thought I saw? But
Kind of a ghost.
yeah, kind of a ghost, because
then you don't actually have to talk to him and make him uncomfortable, and he can just go inside and look at photos of his dear departed daddy.
yeah, and I think that's the other thing too, is, like, we had the reason that he found his son was because they found the christening records at the church, but that doesn't mean that's the last time he saw his son. So his son,
No, he said that in the last member he'd seen.
right, that he was
about
like
4.
4, right? So you'd remember
When he was, like, ill. So presumably, I guess he must have somehow recovered or, like, been in early recovery or something.
Yeah.
When he died. So we'll assume he was about 4. Well, no, okay. No, he mentioned dying in 1957.
Sure.
Right? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And that the kid was about 4, so then
Right.
the christening would have been then.
No, the christening would have been when he was a baby.
No. So christening would have been. I was pointing backward to say
yeah.
that.
Because I think the record was the christening was in 53.
Yes, that's what he said.
Yes.
And he got that from his death date. So presumably the boy was 4 when he died.
Right. So that's the biggest thing, is, like, you kind of look at that and go, well, would he have been old enough to remember? Yeah, by 4 he would have been old enough to at least remember a little bit about his
I have
dad.
a few memories from when I was 4.
And he probably has pictures.
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
Yeah. So it's that little thing of, like, oh, okay, did I really just see? Oh, no, maybe not.
Yeah, and they picked an actor who is a reasonable, not facsimile, but has a plausible sort of resemblance, but is also older, so that's going to obfuscate.
Right. Yeah.
Because Rupert has some real fucking impressive jawline.
Yeah, you do.
So, there's that.
He could cut a bitch. Sorry. Sharp jaw.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but so I enjoyed that. But so we get that little moment right before Mel comes back and is standing outside the coffee shop.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me.
I'm like, I'm sorry, what now?
You're
Standing
right outside the coffee shop. If she literally turned around, she would see you, girl.
Yeah, it was not the best.
No.
But standing outside the coffee shop to text Nico saying, I'm fine, Jada's fine, we're good.
Don't worry
about us. And I'm literally going,
that's not going to do
that's not
going to
stop her.
No.
You're being stupid. Like, you shouldn't have gone to coffee with her in the first place because
Very
that
true.
would have,
Very true.
But like, had that happened.
Also, I feel like they've changed phones because I feel like previously when she was like FaceTiming Maggie or whatever, they didn't have iPhones. They had like Pixel or something. Okay, I feel like I've seen a different type of phone, and now they've got iPhones.
I'm fairly certain they've had iPhones the entire time because the computer that Lucy had was a Mac, so they've been very Apple heavy.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Says my
maybe it's
PC
just the digital additions to the digital editing when they do it in post that it doesn't quite look like an Apple OS. So I don't know why they're doing that. They got the product placement.
I don't know.
I'm a no.
I am a no as well. I don't use FaceTime, so I don't know what it's supposed to look like.
I've never used it either.
Yeah, it's not a thing for me. Like, not so much. Let's see the other thing. The other thing in this episode that I hope gets that they get over this hump quickly with with Macy and the I'm evil and the only thing holding me back is other people because I could go evil at any time. Like,
it's only when she starts hurting people.
I know, but like, you're a witch, you're going to be fighting demons and stuff and whatever. Yeah. Like, learn your shit, nature versus nurture. All right. Like, you didn't know you had darkness in you until you found out you had darkness in you.
Yeah.
So stop it.
But then again, she also found that out after she found out she was a witch. So she'd never used her powers for good or ill.
I get that, but
it's just a lot. It's just a lot to process, and I get that.
The other thing that annoyed me slightly was she said, in science, when something dies, it doesn't come back. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
When it fully dies, yes.
But like, doctors have brought people back from death before.
Not full brain death. Like there's
I don't know.
you could call it, and then there's dead.
I don't know.
Like, she's right, literally, but, like, there are certain technicalities in, like, resuscitation. Doctors know that when you're officially dead is when you have no more brain activity. And there's no getting that back. Because once the brain as machine dies, you're done. As an entire machine, rather. Because you can still get, like, the brainstem working, and that will regulate certain bodily functions, like breathing and heart rate and whatnot, but you don't get the higher brain functions back, and so you'll be in, like, a vegetative state. But, if your heart stops, you can still resuscitate someone for a certain period of time.
Yeah, I guess so.
But before the brain actually fucking dies. But, like, they weren't technically dead. That's why people who come back say they had near-death experiences, not post-death experiences.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just an oddly...
I mean, she's right. But, like, the common parlance is, I died for, like, a minute. You didn't technically die. Like Buffy. Like, her heart stopped. And maybe that classifies as some kind of death by a group of people who didn't have EEG machines. So, technically, she died. And then we get Faith.
Yay!
But yeah, no, she's right.
Well, no. Buffy died, we got Kendra.
Oh, yes, sorry, I forgot about myself.
Yeah. Kendra died, we got Faith.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
True calling.
Yes. I think, aside to Buffy for a moment,
Yes.
I love the fact that they did that of Buffy died, we got Kendra, and then Kendra died, and we got Faith. And it was like, that little moment of like, fuck. Shit. Well.
Technicality. Oops.
All right. Let's work with this, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I like that they did that. But that's a Buffy thing, and we're not going to go there. But I just thought that was very
And then
interesting.
we didn't get another one when she died a second time and literally had to be brought back from the dead.
Right, because she had died, and we got Kendra.
No,
So-
no. The second time. Season
Right.
5.
Yeah.
But no.
Because when Buffy
okay.
died, we got Kendra.
Oh,
So it
okay.
was
So
Kendra
Faith
dying
had
that
been
got
the one.
Faith.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
Right.
It.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense to me now. It always bothered me because I never thought of it like that.
No, because Buffy had died, and so the only reason that she was still the Slayer is because she continued to be the Slayer. She
still had the powers.
Right. She technically didn't have to be anymore because Kendra was around.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have many thoughts on Buffy, and maybe we'll talk about them later.
Yeah.
Yeah. That will not be a podcast.
No.
Because there are enough podcasts.
Go listen to Buffering the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, there are enough Buffy podcasts out there that are better than anything we could do.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I liked the way that the logo came in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
That it came in like through lightning, whatever, and then it kind of looked like glass, maybe, or like, I'm not exactly sure what it was. It was like a slightly textured, like dark blue. I had to pause on it for a while.
Water?
I don't think it was water, though. I mean, it might have been, but it was... I mean, maybe. But it didn't look like it was moving. It just kind of looked textured.
Yeah.
But it was really cool looking. I enjoyed that a lot. I do also think it very interesting that while Marisol was basically told you can't ever see Macy again after she turns 2, we don't know if that means that she can come back as a ghost and see her and be okay with it.
Well, yeah, because the wording that Nancy used was, if you set eyes on her, she will die.
Right.
However, if Marisol doesn't have physical eyes,
Right.
she could still look at her.
Right. And we had the trickster spirit thing pretending to be Marisol.
Yeah.
So this is where my questioning of when do these scripts get written?
Yeah.
Of did we already have this possibility of if Marisol looks at Macy will die before the whole trickster spirit thing happened?
I kind of doubt it.
I kind of doubt it too, but
yeah.
The Babylon 5 this is not.
No. The Good Place, this is not.
Yeah.
This Mike Schur is not running this. So he is not in charge of all of the continuity because Mike Schur is really fucking good at continuity.
Mm-hmm. I think Babylon 5 is by far one of my favorite things ever to bring up when it's the same thing kind of with Sense 8, but they had to condense that.
Yeah.
But it's Babylon 5 was written basically like start to finish before they ever went into episode 1.
Yeah.
It was, I know where this is starting, where this is ending, and how we get there in the middle. It's just, are you going to give me the time to tell the story?
Yeah.
And I like that, and there aren't nearly enough of those types of shows anymore.
Mm-hmm. The Good Place is kind of like that in the sense that before the season starts, Mike knows where it's going to end.
Right, but they kind of have
But
started
he also
over every season, so it kind of works out for them.
Sort of, but like he just kind of decides, hey, we're going to attack a different concept. And I absolutely fucking love, sorry, minor Good Place spoilers, that
Well, I
some
haven't
random
watched the newest season, so
well, no, like there was some random theorizing on Tumblr, not even related to The Good Place originally, but someone was like, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. And then someone goes, I swear, if Mike Schur doesn't go the way of like having the point system itself being flawed, then he is doing something severely wrong. And oh,
lo and
boy.
behold.
Yep.
Yeah, I again, we're not going to do Good Place.
No.
Like,
There's also a podcast about that. Mark Evan Jackson hosts it. It's great. Go listen.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that a lot of shows nowadays are not really into the whole figuring out where they're going before they get there.
No, they just want to be on air as long as possible.
Yeah. And it makes me sad.
I know. I would appreciate a little more thoughtful shows. Like, you don't have to plan everything, but like,
yeah,
you should have like I believe Mike Shore mentioned having like certain goals for each episode for what they should do regardless of what actually happens plot wise. It's like they need to be consistent per episode. So like, even if he's, not there to fully supervise, like the writers know what the objectives are, and the production knows what the objectives are, and they just have to keep consistent with that.
Right.
And I feel like that's a philosophy that could go over very well with other shows, especially if you stick with it.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is this show, a lot of the time it feels like they're writing each episode one right after the other and just tacking stuff on. Not always, but that's kind of how it's been feeling.
I get where you're coming from there.
But it's not necessarily in a bad way. And they're still doing little bits of like nodding to the original show. Like when Maggie was stuck in the stall filled with water.
Yeah.
I got very much Prue in the shower vibes from that. So I like that they're still doing that little nods to the original without making it blatant.
Yeah. And so about that shower stall specifically, like, I now get why the in-universe out for that can never be, oh, you fucking float. Because there's never water when they're filming that. So they can't float.
Well, I mean,
I mean, like they have to put the water in post.
They could have her on wires and have her
but that's
up.
way too
but
much
that's
more
way
expensive.
Yeah, that's way much.
It's easier to do it digitally, and that's why they never float in the water. Yeah. A, it's magic water.
That's that's the biggest
B,
thing.
They have to do it in post, so there's no physical way to get her to look like she's floating. She can, however, look like she's drowning. Because acting, as Patrick Stewart says.
Yes. I did think it interesting, though, that when the spell got broken and all the water rushed away, she was completely dry.
She wasn't.
It looked like she was.
It looked like she was. But no, they definitely, like, I saw the bucket of the warmed up water that they were going to put on her before I left. Yeah. She was definitely going to be dampened. But it just takes time to film that shit.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it just didn't look like she was wet at all, which I was kind of okay with because magic water.
But yeah, I really loved how that effect of the trash can banging into the shower stall worked out, because I was there for the filming of that specific bit. Mm-hmm. And it was real fun to watch Madeline just go whah with her face.
I will just turn my head rapidly now.
Yeah, she kept getting her hair stuck in her eye or her mouth or something.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts, I think.
I really enjoyed seeing how the shit I saw came together. Like, when I walked through the house set, I got to see the hole in the wall, like, by the kitchen, by the back door there. Mm-hmm. And I got to see, like, all of the fake broken glass from the window and shit. And I was like, what happened? Also, fun fact, that bit where Macy and Nancy are searching the house and they, like, come out from the separate doors back into the hallway, there are no rooms up there.
Yeah.
Like, you can go physically upstairs in that house and then come back down. That's possible. But there are no rooms on the upstairs. They have all of the rooms on the floor in the rest of the soundstage.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Well, I know it makes sense, but it's still really funny to be like, you didn't actually close a door because those doors don't open.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love I do love a good soundstage. Like I enjoy behind the scenes stuff.
Oh my god, yes.
I absolutely love all those little secrets. And like part of me wishes that I had been able to go with you. But I'm really glad that I didn't, because at the time you went, I was not a fan of this show.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have...
It was funnily enough. It was, yeah.
It wouldn't, for me personally, I wouldn't have had as good of a time because I'd have been like, all right, I don't really care about any of this at that time. Because it did take me 10 episodes to actually give a shit about any of these people.
Yeah, it's really funny how that was only 2 episodes ago that you didn't give a shit.
Right.
That's funny.
And I think that's the biggest thing for me personally. It's because there was a lot of one-dimensional character development or lack thereof with Mel. And it just soured me completely on the show. It really did. And that has nothing to do with the actress. It has nothing to do with the show itself, not being the original. It really did just, for me, the writing that they were giving her had her so one-dimensional that it was just pissing me off. And they've finally started to give her more dimension, and it makes me very happy.
No, it was really funny because Q hadn't watched any of the show while we were there, and so they ask if we're fans, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am, and then he kind of just like pauses, and I'm like, he's still catching up.
Yeah.
I'm like, here, I'll give you an out. I know how to do this. Like, we're good.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sad that I couldn't go, mostly because I really love behind the scenes stuff, and like that would have been so
also,
cool. But
there was not a spot for you to go. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like if there had been,
yeah,
if it had been like, yeah, we'll get you both out here and blah blah blah, like that would have been really cool because I love behind the scenes stuff. And because I grew up, my dad was an actor. He technically still is an actor, but my dad was an actor in theater when I was growing up, and so I was always backstage.
Oh yeah.
And I grew up in the back of a theater. And so, like, I just love that, like, that world of all the behind-the-scenes stuff and the little things of how do we get this to work? And how do we get that to work? And how do we rig this up so that it works at least once? Little things like that.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't get to see that kind of process.
No.
My visit was more, I got to view the very smooth running machine.
Yeah.
That the show is. And they always knew what was going to happen. And there was the script supervisor there to make sure that everything was said that needed to be said. And they had the stand-ins who would be there so they could frame up a shot. Like, I got to see that close-up shot of Sid while she's, collapsed by that bench. Yeah, it was just interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure that, TV stage stuff is way different than theater stage stuff, and I get that. But yeah, I just... Like, if at some point in the future there was another opportunity, I'm not saying that there's going to be or whatever, but, if there was, I'd be like, maybe I can get it out this time. Because, I think it would be very interesting. But, yeah, this episode, I'm very interested to see where the show is going to go next, and how far they're actually going to take this whole Maisie has demon blood in her thing. And how dark she's actually going to go before she realizes, oh, I can just be good and use this for good and
yeah, it's interesting
not be a demon.
Yeah, it's interesting how, according to the show lore we've gotten thus far, Parker being half demon is literally killing him because he is fighting it. But Macy has had 0 ill effects up until this moment.
Right, and that's why I think it's partly... I don't necessarily trust Sid in that, yeah, totally. Every demon, every person that Nancy brought back turns to demon.
Well, no. Okay, I believe her on that count because...
But I'm saying is, what I'm saying with that is, yeah, that might be happening because Nancy is pushing them to go demon, not because they're actually going to go demon.
And she did say right before she dusted off that she would help to bring
more
demons into the world.
Yeah, exactly.
That was clearly her objective.
Exactly. So I think...
So it's curious, maybe she decided she would just let Macy sit. She's never seen Macy. She didn't recognize her when she came in. She had to sniff her soul.
Yeah.
To be able to know who it was. So, like, I want to know why she left this one alone. Was it because it was a baby and she's like, I don't want to deal with that nonsense? Well, I'll just ensure that the mother will never figure out that I have put demon blood in the baby.
Yeah, maybe.
Because who knows if that cost was actually what the spirits told her, or what she's just like, this probably serves my ends best.
Mm-hmm.
And they get the thing, and I get to be out of Tartarus. So, like, I'll write this one off.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that might be part of it. But that's why I'm saying that the whole, you know, all of the people she brings back become demon. That might be true, but I don't think it's true because it's inevitable. I think it's true because Nancy was like, go be demon.
Yeah. It was certainly inevitable for that mouse, though.
Yeah, that was an awful lot of blood for the mouse.
No, because then Macy...
No, I know, but like, it was like the way she stabbed the thing and then it was the whole... And I'm just like, that's an awful lot of blood.
She also cut her hand over it.
Did she?
Yes.
Okay, I missed that bit. But I just remember the mouse thing of like...
Because remember, Nancy's like, oh, like, you didn't have to kill the mouse with the knife. You could have just done it with your powers, which wouldn't have resulted in blood.
Yeah, true.
So clearly it wasn't the mouse's blood she needed.
Yeah.
She needed the death because necromancer.
Yeah.
And she needed some blood, and mice don't have a lot of that shit.
True. All right. Yeah, no, I must have missed the cutting of herself.
Mm-hmm.
But, and again, I also wonder in that little thing of the reasoning that we see the mouse die because the mouse is going evil. It's like, how much of that was Nancy... Because Nancy went downstairs before Macy followed.
I don't think she did anything. Because she saw the mouse and she's like, well, shit, now I got to explain this.
And again, but that's the other thing is like, okay, I got to explain this. Well, how do we know she wasn't lying? Because
I think she was lying, but I think she wasn't expecting the mouse to turn so fast.
Maybe.
I think she wasn't pleased with having to then turn to Macy and lie about the reason the mouse did that. She's like, this is just inconvenient. That was the effect I was getting from her mood.
Maybe. I don't know. There was I had questions about it, but it's not a huge deal in that. Yeah. But like for me, if I was gonna, again, I'm the only one giving ratings on this, but I think for me, if I was to give this episode a rating, it would probably be an 8 out of 10. Because again, like they're getting better at that, like keeping my attention, wanting me to know more, that sort of thing. So I'm excited to see where it goes next, and I'm kind of sad that we have to wait until March 3rd.
Yeah, but that's not that far away.
It isn't, but like, because they just took 2 weeks off.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't 2 weeks. They would like naturally hiatus. That was the Super Bowl and then the Grammys. Like there were other huge ass events. Like what are there any events in the intervening couple of weeks now that they have
Oscars,
to avoid?
I think.
Okay,
is the next one, which is
I don't know. Well, then I don't know what the second one would be. But you know, maybe they were planning to have a hiatus around now, but the Super Bowl and the Grammys forced their hand.
Yeah, I don't know
because they show on Sundays, so that's what they get. We done?
Yeah, I think we're done. We have no ending.
That's not
no outro. I don't remember.
Sign off.
We have no sign off.